So I'm telling you, this book is powerful beyond belief. And another thing about the rapture, if you owned an entire kingdom and you knew that it wasn't yours, but you had squandered it so completely that you thought you had it forever, right? But then the real owner, the king, had come back and done something that you couldn't even think of, and all of a sudden you were like, oh, and the victory was theirs, and you're like devastated, your kingdom is gone, and you're going to be completely annihilated, right? What do you think you are going to do? Oh, and before that, they can come and totally get everything because the victory has been won, and they have to get their children away from the danger before they can completely finish it. And so, what do you think you would do if you were the culprit, if you were the one who was defeated but still here? You would do all your power to delay it, right? You would keep the children here, because they're not going to come back until we're saved. And so it's like, but what is the best way to do that? You can't parade around in a wolf, like a wolf. You can't parade around looking like, you all crazy. You're going to have to parade around looking like you like Jesus, right? Or like you talk like him, you walk like him, you do all this stuff like him. And you get other people to walk like him and talk like him and do all your stuff like that, and get everyone get all the people in cognitive dissonance, which is like pretty much the whole nation to a certain generation, right? And so it's like, when the raptures had come up and all the people were looking like this, that's exactly where he was. The king that was defeated down here. The one enemy. That's where he was, among the children, spreading such beautiful flowers that would strangle the real root. But they wouldn't even know because the flowers smelled good. The root was shit, but the flowers smelled good. Do you see what I'm saying? That's how clever and deceitful the father of lies is. And because of that, if you proclaim a date about the rapture, convincing yourself and everybody in every single way that this is the date that you got to expect the Lord, and take out your mind, the other half of your mind, completely forgetting it, thinking that's the only way, not realizing there's a whole other space here that God already said, and also his son, nobody knows but the Father. So that can just go in the trash because it's no longer relevant, kind of thing. But you don't think about it like that. You think you're doing it in righteousness. And it does not come to pass. That's how you become a false prophet. The testimony of Jesus, which is the New Testament, is the spirit of prophecy, right? If you're prophesying about Jesus and it doesn't come true, prophecy is saying something that's going to happen in the future and it comes to pass. It's truth, right? If it does not come to pass, it's false. And you were a prophet, then convinced it doesn't come to pass. What does that make you? A false prophet. And that's how false prophets come about within the church. It's not because people are intentionally out there being like, deceive them right now. All this stuff. Not at all. Not at all. It's because it's the cognitive dissonance. It's the tares among the wheat. We cannot tell the difference. But how you can tell the difference is the outcome of the fruit. And if the outcome is not what you had said, then anything else you say after that, I would not believe. And that's why, since my first rapture, second rapture, third rapture, fourth rapture, all these things that the elders were saying as a little kid, of course you're going to listen to your elders, right? And fear and completely be terrified. You would do that, and then all of a sudden, when it doesn't happen, not only do you feel a little bit less trusting of your elders, but you also have a little bit more doubt in God. Up until that time, because of all of the alarms, everybody comes back and starts reading the Bible, and the ones who are leading the pack, they have gone through the Bible, and so they have chopped it up, and they have gotten so much knowledge, which is awesome, because we don't read the Bible enough and look at it in the context and different brains, the same verse in a different, perspective. You can do that with the Bible. It's the mystery of the Bible is that it's an omni-dimensional truth any way that you look at it, you can make terms with it, and it's still true to you until it grows, and it will always grow. It will always grow. It's crazy. So, and you know when it grows because that's when you grow. Like, your brain changes. You've, like, been upgraded. It's crazy. It's almost like when you're a little kid and you're watching Aladdin, and then you're like, oh yeah, I love this part, you know, and then the fat girl comes out and he's like, still I think he's rather tasty. Well, before that, you know why they don't like him in there? As an adult mind, you can look at it. It's a brothel. Like, all those girls were prostitutes, and he goes in there because he's poor and he's homeless, but he kind of handsome. And he goes in there and, like, he doesn't, and then he doesn't pay them, and he just runs out. And then so the lady who tried to hit him with the broom, she was the mama's son or whatever, and that's she's like, I don't like him, like that. You know what I mean? You watch Lion King, and I love Lion King. It came out on my birthday. I'll always remember. I love animals. I love Lion King. But then you watch it again as an adult mind, and you realize that okay, Simba kind of killed his dad. What was he singing right before Mufasa got killed? He just can't wait to be king. Hello, how does a prince become a king? The king needs to die, so the throne is open and it passes his son. He pretty much, law of magnetism, kept singing it and had everyone else thinking it, and all of a sudden it happened, and he's like, what? So he really did kill his father, not Scar. Though Scar perpetrated it, because he knew about the law of magnetism, which Simba was innocent about, and used that against him. See how it works? It's awesome. So, beside the fact is, what was I talking about? So God needs to come back, and you're the only one who can do that. Once you do that, okay, Jesus, who has already done his part, of course, right? Jesus Christ, the Son of God, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, Emmanuel, the Prince of Peace, our Redeemer, the most blessed, worthy, unblemished Lamb that had to only die once for all, okay? If you understood what Jesus was as a man, you would understand that he was a spiritual hyper genius. Like, he was like, he's awesome. I wish I was one of his disciples. Like, if I had the mindset and capability to understand him how I do now, back then, he might not have been crucified, because I would have chopped everybody up, because he's truth. He's truth. He could tell everyone truth, and I love that. I love that so much. Like, I long to be that. And graceful about it. I can tell the truth, and I'm very sloppy sometimes. I'll tell the truth with my faith, or tell the truth with hope, and I'm like soft with the truth so no one gets it. Or like with my faith, I'm like, they get it, but like they're missing an arm, you know. Only with love can you do it, and it's so hard, that balance, because we don't know the power of full love. Love is a crazy force. It's of the strongest force in omniverses, more than you could even think. And truth will always just boom, you know? Ooh. Anyway, the reason is now you have to bring God from the old to the new. I was reading about how when Jesus was he went with when he got the tax collector, right, as the disciple, where he's like, hey, come with me, and it was a tax collector, and then all of a sudden he was in the tax collector's house eating with all the other tax collectors and like other sinners. And so like the church came up and was like, first of all, they came up and didn't even tell them what they were really thinking, which was, look at you all saying use all this and that and talking all high maka, but hanging out with sinners. But they came up and said, and instead said, why are we fasting and they're not, right? And then he said about the wineskins, right? He's like, you don't get a cloth that has not been expanded or shrunk or something. Like, you don't get a new cloth and you patch up an old one because it will make the tear bigger. And you don't get new wine and put it in your old wineskins because the old wineskin will bust, the wine will roll all over the place, and you will ruin the wineskins. If you get new wine, you put it in new wineskins, okay? So, like, that whole concept, like, came to me because of this. And it's like, why do they not do this when we are, okay? So, like, the Old Testament and the New Testament kind of thing, right? Why do they not, the Old Testament is looking at the New Testament like that. Why do they not do that when we are? And the New Testament is looking at people like me, kind of. Why does he not do that when we are? Like, we're saved. Why does he say that he can do that kind of thing, right? So, the new doesn't go on the old, or the old gets worse. Like, if you get a new cloth and you haven't shrunk it, so it's you put it on the patch perfectly, and then you wash it, it shrinks and it will tear, but then it will make it all frayed, right? That's what's going to happen if the new goes on the old and then tries to amalgamate, okay? It doesn't mix with the old, because the old will break and the new won't stay, and the old won't be fixable after the new leaves, okay? And the new goes into new, so both are pure again. I hope that made sense to everybody.